Will begin in about 15 minutes. Our program will begin in about 15 minutes. please begin making your way to your seats. If you're in the amphitheater sunbathing, we're going to start in about 5 minutes. Thank you.
We are proud to be ranked #1 in the nation in student social mobility. But it's not the rankings that drive us. It's student success. We work to help students prepare for careers, transcend barriers, and unlock their potential for lifelong success. Higher education is one of the most important drivers of a person's upward mobility. And as a national leader in social mobility, we will continue to empower students to be tomorrow's changemakers. Because it's about the power of us, the power of you. It's about the power of CSUSM.
Good morning and welcome to our 2023 Convocation, marking the beginning of the new academic year, and a special welcome to our new faculty and staff who are participating in their very first CSUSM Convocation today. I'm Dr. Carl Chemnitz, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, and I'm delighted to celebrate in person with so many of you, and I also would extend a warm welcome to all of you joining on the live stream. As we begin, I want to respectfully acknowledge the Luiseño Paimkawashum people on whose traditional territory we are gathered. We acknowledge them as the past, present, and future caretakers of this land. I hope you had an opportunity to see our pre-event slideshow that recognized some special members of our university community. If you didn't get a chance because you were socializing and enjoying the food, please recognize that it will be up on the President's website, and you can view it there. I also wanted to extend my congratulations to those faculty who earned tenure and/or promotion for fall 2023. We'd like to acknowledge them with this slideshow. Let's give them all one round of applause. So congratulations to all those faculties whose hard work and dedication led to their tenure and promotion this fall. Now I'd like to ask everyone to take a moment to remember those we have lost over the past year. We will honor their memories with a brief video. Thank you. And the beginning of every academic year brings so much excitement and optimism for me. And the reason for that is because I know how special CSUSM's faculty, staff, and students are, and the vital role each member of our campus community plays in our success. Two of those people are our Academic Senate Chair, Dr. Glenn Brodowski, and the President of Associated Students Incorporated, Ernest Cisneros. I invite you to watch brief video messages from each of them about the new year.
Good morning. On behalf of the Academic Senate of California State University, San Marcos, welcome to the 2023-24 academic year. Today marks our university's 34th anniversary as a campus, and I've been here for 28 of those years. I've had the distinct privilege of being recruited by the founding generation of faculty more than 30 years ago. A bigger privilege has been to be involved in recruiting and mentoring the next generation of faculty who will carry our university forward into its next 30 years. I've also served under every presidential administration that has led this campus since its founding. Over that time, we've faced many, many challenges. We've had high growth and we've had super high growth. We've had bad budget times and horrible budget times, and we've all lived through an enormous pandemic. Yet through it all, our faculty, staff, and administrative colleagues have persisted to have built this magnificent campus that we're all standing on this morning. Together, we continue to serve a diverse student body who will join the ranks of the tens of thousands of California State University San Marcos alumni who are making a difference in our community every day. The jobs and skills that these students will need to meet the challenges of tomorrow, we haven't even dreamed of them yet. But past this prologue, our faculty stands ready and poised to develop the curriculum and deliver it to them to prepare them for success in the 21st century. We're living through exciting times here at Cal State San Marcos, so today, let's take time to celebrate and then roll up our sleeves and get to work. In the meantime, Happy New Year.
Hello, Cougar staff and faculty. Welcome to the 2023-2024 academic year. My name is Ernest Cisneros, and I serve as the President and CEO of Associated Students Incorporated, better known here on campus as ASI. ASI serves as the official voice of all CSUSM students, and our mission is simple: to serve, engage, and empower all of our students. I want to share a couple of highlights from the past year and what ASI is excited for this year. Last year, we served about 750 students per week at the ASI Cougar Pantry and rescued over 50,000 pounds of food with our retail rescue program partners. Serving so many students a week has been a challenge, but ASI does not shy away from it because we remain committed to fighting food insecurity, ensuring all of our students have this basic need met. In addition to fighting food insecurity, at the ASI Cougar Pantry, we were able to award over 300 students $112,000 in emergency funding through the ASI Student Emergency Fund. We thank our partners at the Cougar Care Network for their hard work supporting students' basic needs and our emergency fund. ASI engaged students by hosting our annual Festival 78 last April, and we were so excited to have over 600 students attend to see our student band, Daybenders, opening for comedian Trevor Wallace and the band Neon Trees. Watch out for our next festival on Saturday, April 13th. The ASI Board of Directors worked hard at representing the student voice and student interest by sitting in over 30 university committees last year, including exciting projects like the University Village Housing and Dining and the Long Range Academic Master Plan. Looking to this year, ASI's goals include empowering student voice, advocating for student interest in the Wellness and Recreation Facility, and reestablishing engagement with ASI. To empower student voice, we plan to better educate the campus community about ASI and university resources and create more opportunities for professional development. To continue advocating for student interest in the Wellness and Recreation Facility, we plan to engage with even more students this upcoming fall around their needs focused on holistic wellness. And finally, to reestablish engagement with ASI, we plan to build connections with campus partners and promote visibility of ASI by hosting events like First Night Celebration, which last year brought over 500 students. I'm really looking forward to another great year here at CSUSM with all of you and our students. If you have any students that may be interested in being part of ASI, please send them our way. And please remember to share our important resources like the ASI Cougar Pantry with your students. I wish you all a fantastic year. Thank you, and go Cougars.
Now, it is my honor to introduce the person who has provided the guidance and leadership to ensure that CSUSM remains positioned for continued growth and success. Each day, she works toward making our university a national model for guiding students throughout the student life cycle, so that they become engaged and active alumni in the community while fueling the needs of our region. She is our campus's #1 champion for ensuring that CSUSM is a diverse, inclusive, and welcoming home for students, faculty, staff, alumni, and community members. I have the privilege of seeing firsthand her focus on student success and student social mobility, and know how deeply she cares about being part of the solution to creating pathways for students to achieve their dreams. So please join me in welcoming Cal State San Marcos President, Dr. Ellen Neufeld.
Thanks, Carl. Thank you. Oh, okay. So the one thing I have to say before we get started, well, I guess we're already started, but I see so many of wonderful folks sitting in the back of the room, and I want to take just a moment to offer you a chair. The front row right in front of me is wide open. I don't know how that happens every time, but I also see some chairs throughout the room, so I'm just going to pause a minute. I cannot stand for anybody to be left out or not be included, and some of you may want to stand, and others may think, gosh, if I could just have a chair. So if we could just take a minute, and if you have a chair near you, and somebody doesn't want to sit in the front row, if you'd invite them to sit with you, but anybody in the back that wants to sit, I want to give you a moment to do that. All right? There's chairs that are not in the front of the room, too, that I can see from up here, right? So, because I have a lot to say, and I want you to stay through it all. I don't want your knees to buckle as we go. Anybody else? No front row folks, huh? Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right. A few of you are braving that. You know, it's funny because it's not a classroom. I'm not going to call on you. So where we go? Okay. If you know, this is something where I say this is no surprise. There's a teleprompter in front of me. Obviously, we haven't started it rolling yet. And the wonderful person, James, that comes out to do this with me, he's gotten used to me by now. And I've got a few other things that I'm going to mention that are not on a teleprompter. Well, probably lots of things this morning that are not on a teleprompter. But you know, when I got to walk around, it's always about really the moment sometimes that we're in. And bluntly, when I got to walk around, before I needed this microphone taped to my face, and I got a chance to walk around and see so many of you, you helped me look up this morning, and I hope you helped each other look up. Sometimes I can really get into what I've got to do at the moment, and you reminded me just how magnificent you are and to be part of this campus is before I got started. And some of you said to me, "Thank you for breakfast. This is really good." And I need to tell you, I didn't make breakfast. And it reminds me that, see, when I come in here in the morning, or I come in here, I ran through this speech yesterday. I run through it enough so that I remember it enough so that when I walk off of it, I can come back to it. There's people setting up the chairs, and some of you said, this breakfast is really good, and somebody made it. It wasn't me. And folks made it. All the unsung heroes that we need to remember, and the custodians and our folks from facilities that are here that make this possible, our USU staff that slip in, our communications folks that are here in the back of the room. And then when I decide I want to do something different, go and try and find a picture to go with it, because I'm just up here saying, oh, I want to talk about that instead of this, and they're like, do you know what that means? But they don't ever say that. They just do it. They are heroes, and I so appreciate them. And there's a couple other folks before we applaud all the unsung heroes. I was reminded this morning, we had, so a week ago Thursday, I was going about my business, and somebody from the East Coast texted me and said, "I heard you're getting a hurricane." And I'm like, I don't live on the East Coast anymore. We don't get hurricanes. But indeed, we might have. And we had our first tropical storm warning. And while we were very lucky about what happened, another piece of luck around unsung heroes that I want you to know about is the confidence that it gave me and should give you that we had Jennifer Ralph and Jesse Flores leading the way for us all the way through that moment. And, well, you know, my weekend might have been, and all of our weekends probably were a little disrupted with it because I was in and out of meetings. I would go in and out of meetings with so much prep, with so many people that silently behind the scenes are making sure the most basic needs for our campus are there with safety. I also learned this morning, and I wish I'd known it when I walked in, that it's Jesse Flores' birthday today, and he's decided to spend it with us. That's really exciting, Jesse. This party's just for you. So if I could just pause one more time, could you help me thank everybody behind the scenes that helps us do what we do on this campus? So I also want to give a big shout out to Glenn and Ernest, our faculty senate chair, our ASI president. You know, I saw those videos yesterday and I thought, tremendous leaders that we're starting this year with. And, you know, I got to spend time with the Senate Executive Committee yesterday. Of course, I ran over, so I really appreciate their patience with me. But I just love to be able to chat with them. And then when I think about Ernest, I actually got, you know, part of Ernest and his colleagues in ASI, their college career, part of it has been virtual, right, with us and learning with us. And Ernest kept trying to communicate, or did communicate with students through social media. So I kept seeing this student I didn't know on social media. I felt like I knew him. And the first day I walked into him, just randomly on campus, I'm like, I know you. I've seen you, because he has been making it happen for our students since day one, whether virtual or on campus. And so Glenn and Ernest, I just appreciate all that you bring and all that you've done to this point, and I'm excited to start the year with you. And you know, many of you are in this room, and I couldn't be more appreciative of that. And again, if at any time some of you are standing and you say, I want that seat, even if it's in the front row, you walk on up here. I might call you out in front of the room, I might not, but you walk on up here and we will move through it. And then, but we also do have folks joining us online, and I want to welcome you as well to Employee Convocation 2023, because, you know, it is about kicking off this year, but it's also about the momentum that we've set in motion that I saw this morning, and really continuing to bring to life our strategic plan, the power of CSUSM, the power of us. And, you know, I talked about, you helped me look up this morning, but one of the gifts that I have as president is getting to see the big picture of how all of your individual work and contributions come together to enhance our university. And it's really a privilege for me to be able to report on your good work today. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to report on our good work, and sometimes I'm going to report today on things where we need to stretch a little bit. In no way does that mean that to take away from the vibrant moment and moving forward. It's just that we're not going to leave anything out of a conversation here, because that's who we are. The other thing I'll tell you is that I had so much I wanted to say to you, you would be here 24 hours. And so I do lament that I won't get to mention every wonderful thing or everything that we get to work on. But I will be continuing to communicate with you, and so will others. It's not that I don't want to take credit for every good thing that we're doing, and so will others throughout the year. So stay tuned to that as well. You know, last August when I shared our strategic plan's vision to be a top university in social mobility, I went out and I was bold about that. And I mean, somehow I knew that I was speaking for a group of people that had been making it happen since the beginning. But most of the time, if I'm ever even on the slight side of arrogance, it comes back to get me. But actually, this time, none of us could have known that I was boldly saying that, and CollegeNet would rank us #1 in the nation just a few short months later. That was pretty amazing. And it was, I gotta say, a wonderful surprise. I thought, we were working toward that, and then we just grabbed that prize. And it speaks, though, really to who we are and who we've always been. Your unwavering focus on our students and the message we strive to send each one, that their potential knows no bounds, and their journey with us is not just about education, but about empowerment, opportunity, and realizing their dreams. And while we don't do it for the accolades, I have been one that has very much criticized rankings in my time, but I did appreciate that the Social Mobility Index was a reaffirmation of the meaningful impact that each one of you has made in shaping CSUSM's identity, a university committed to leading the change in social mobility and accessibility in higher education, setting the model for where higher education should go. And given the national conversation right now on higher ed and the significant headwinds that we really collectively face across higher education, I really know how lucky I am, and I'm so proud to be the president of this university where we're defying expectations, rewriting narratives, and putting student success first in all that we do. And of course, I'm going to share a little bit about what I mean. Just a few weeks ago in July, I had the opportunity to attend the Biden-Harris administration National Summit on Higher Education in Washington, D.C. at the Department of Ed. If you've never been to D.C., I don't recommend going in July. You might choose a different month. I had very frizzy hair. I remembered what it was like to live on the East Coast. But I was still honored to be there, and the event brought together higher education leaders from across our country. And it was really an honor for me to be there representing this university and actually the CSU. And the discussion centered on how higher education collectively could blaze a path forward for diversity and equity in the aftermath of the Supreme Court's ruling on affirmative action. Now, we know in California, affirmative action has been quote unquote prohibited at public colleges and universities since actually 1996. But I'm going to quote Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona. The ruling is a turning point in higher education for our nation. It's a call to action. And, even though this ruling is deeply disappointing, it's really not good to see affirmative action end. I know and we know that this policy was never enough. And for too long, higher education has perpetuated inequality rather than addressed or improved it. And it's happened across rankings, not the one we really like, but rankings in general, the media, public policy, all of it have really worsened this issue. And too often, regional public universities like ours are left out of the conversation, even though we're the ones that for decades have really been paving the way and where higher education needs to be going. And for 34 years, right here at CSUSM, I've just been here this is my 5th convocation. Oh, but I've done it in every form, fashion. I should get back to the script, shouldn't I? For 34 years, we at CSUSM have stood as a beacon of opportunity, really fostering success right here within our region and beyond. And our success is measured by 67,000 proud alumni, 8 out of 10 who stay and work and give back to our region. And we know, yes. I say this, understanding, and sometimes bluntly, I try and balance how I'm going to say this. I say I know that we are really that beacon of hope, and yet I never say it not knowing that we always have places to stretch and room to go, and that we're not perfect, and we haven't always been perfect, and there are places for us to reach and move forward. That's always a balance as we walk this journey. Because for us, DEI will always be a journey and not a destination. And yet in countless ways, I will say, private schools, the Ivies, flagships, they can learn a lot about equity in education from right here at CSUSM. It's institutions like ours that are opening our doors wide to students of all backgrounds and supporting them to graduation day and beyond. And when I was in DC, I had a chance to share the great work and all the ways that we're innovatively breaking the mold, dismantling barriers, and standing as a model for where higher ed needs to go next in terms of access, affordability, and student success. I'm going to give you a few examples. We signed 5 new agreements with local school districts in March, bringing our total number of Alliance MOUs to over 15. These partnerships unlock educational access for hundreds of thousands, really making it about K through 16 and beyond that. It's our goal to extend the Alliance to every school district in our region, including Imperial Valley, and that is creating pathways to social mobility. And we do it from every facet, like tackling costs head-on. Our library's affordable textbook campaign supported 1,600 courses last year, saving students thousands of dollars in course materials, because affordability is a key component to success, and that's social mobility. A hallmark of the CSUSM experience, faculty mentorship, thank you faculty, and applied undergraduate learning shone through in our service learning program. With 150 community partners and 2,000 students engaged, together we're ensuring that our students are graduating future ready, and that is social mobility. The other thing I noticed in DC is what was really amazing to me was that our reputation and our work were already known. When I met Carrie Billy, the president and CEO of the American Indian Higher Ed Consortium, she spoke so highly of Dr. Jolie Proudfit, chair of our American Indian Studies Department and director of our one-of-a-kind California Indian Culture and Sovereignty Center. I also had the pleasure of meeting Deputy Secretary Cindy Martin, and she let me know how much she admired the San Marcos Writing Project and the efforts of Dr. Laurie Stowell and the School of Ed to provide teacher development. Yep. And I loved being able to talk about our new strategic plan with our focus on serving the students of our region, providing opportunities for social mobility, not only as a moral and ethical imperative, but as an economic imperative for our region, our state, and our nation. And I know that this imperative is more important than ever before. And someone else who knows that better than most is Dr. Millie Garcia, who is announced as the CSU Chancellor Select at the July Board of Trustees meetings. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. Dr. Garcia is the current president of the American Association of State Colleges and Universities. Just a side note, when you're giving a speech, that's a mouthful. Previously serving as the president of CSU Dominguez Hills and Fullerton. And on October 1, she will become our first ever Latina CSU Chancellor. Dr. Garcia talks about the significance of educating the new majority in higher education and the role of ASCU institutions, such as Cal State San Marcos, to educate the growing share of low-income first generation and students of color to prepare them for rewarding and well-paying careers, and really to help change our world. We're already leading in this new era of education, and of course, that's why we're #1 in social mobility, which is defined via our strategic plan as how our students transcend barriers faced by earlier generations, not only unlocking their potential for lifelong success, but empowering them to be change makers and innovative problem solvers for the future. I want to thank you for how you work each and every day to make this university a better place. And you do it with empathy, resilience, and the ability to lead right from where you are. Like Jace Yardley, our lead maintenance mechanic, who yes, go Jace. Who injects dedication into every task his team undertakes. From a simple fix to a complex project, his contributions to creating a safe and welcoming environment directly support student success. And then there's Tina Carrito in events and conference services. manages the puzzle of scheduling 10,000 events on campus, fueling her work with a let's get it done mentality. This isn't just about event logistics. It's about fostering an environment where students engage, learn, and connect. And that's contributing directly to student success. And then there's Jeremy Williamson, Director of Facilities and Operations and Housing. And I'm guessing he isn't in this room today. Now, if you jump up, Jeremy, I'm all about it. But I think that he's with many others who are supporting move-in at the Quad. Yes. One of the difficult moments of our success is that we've had to navigate the landscape of increased demand for on-campus living. And well, it's coming. It's not all here just yet. And he's really risen to the occasion with unwavering leadership, notably going the extra mile by meeting personally with families and students to support their smooth transition to campus. His spirit exemplifies the entire housing team who form the bedrock of our students' on-campus living experience. And these are just 3 examples. They're just a glimpse. So many of you make up that collective tapestry that makes CSUSM so special. And remind us that behind every student success story, there's a community of dedicated individuals working to make it happen. And that includes everybody. Oh, that deserves some music, I think. Yeah. It includes each and every one of you that are here today and watching online. It's so exciting that we played some music for you. And from day one, since I've been here, it's the thing that profoundly moved me. It's the thing that brought me here, is the unwavering dedication to our students and their achievements. This very spirit and ethos have been the driving force behind the multitude of remarkable accomplishments we witnessed this past year. Now I'm going to take a little bit of a turn because it wouldn't be right to say everything is perfect. We do experience challenges. Our work together hasn't been without them. Bringing forward opportunities to reflect on how we can elevate and refine our culture, our climate, and our outcomes in a post-pandemic world moved by very strong currents of change. And it's not just happening here. Our state, our country, and our world are grappling with so much right now. A changing labor market, the urgency of climate change, the duality of technological opportunities and threats, a pressing need to address systemic racial injustice and inequity, and a complex landscape of mental health and wellness. And that just names a few. And when we step back and consider these forces, you know, it's no wonder that our campus also finds itself in the midst of a transformative period. And that we are rightly asking ourselves significant questions like, what must evolve? And what do we need to change? And how can we not only lead but thrive in the next 30 years? And of course, add a little bit more complexity to our work because, you know, we're a group that's in for a challenge. This year, we don't actually have all the information that will finalize our budget. You're like, what in the world does that mean? Well, we are very grateful. There is mixed news, I guess you'd say, with the budget. We are very grateful to the governor for fully funding what we call the CSU Compact. And basically, that's some funds we got that help us meet our increased costs. And it basically helps us keep the power on, the lights on, and the doors open. And we have made great progress in enrollment, rebounding from last year, but we're not quite where we were pre-pandemic. We are still doing very well, especially compared to many schools across our nation. But that does have budget implications. And there are still several unknowns, one of which includes, we know that right now that our unions and our chancellor's office are negotiating for many different things, and one area of that is salary, and we don't know where that'll land. I want to say I fully respect the process, and the process is taking place right now. So we're going to take a slow yet proactive approach to the budget this year and hold some dollars back centrally so that we're prepared to meet any increased expenses that may come our way. And you might be thinking, well, why would we do that? Because it's so important to me that we value the people that are here. And you say, well, how does holding dollars back value the people that are here? Because I want everybody to be here and be a part of this university, and holding dollars back helps us ensure that. There's also a lot more to this, and I could give a whole speech on it, and It's best I don't, because the experts are going to be hosting a budget forum in September to share more details. So if you're curious, in fact, I'm looking at one of the experts, but I won't call him out. So if you're curious, and I can understand why you would be, more to come. But then, meantime, I want to repeat the important things that I want you to know. Budget priorities here are definitely rooted in our strategic plan, but most specifically our people, the long-term sustainability of our institution, and how we continue to support our mission of student success. And when we think about the rising to meet challenges and moving our mission forward, I want to thank all of you who have been engaged in the important task forces and work groups that are part of bettering our university. So in the last year alone, we've made progress with our Timely Incident Response Task Force, our Policy Equity Review Committee, and our DEI Inventory Project. All three of these initiatives, which you can read more about on the Office of the President website, have been about forging systemic change and integrating the fundamental principles of inclusive excellence into our work moving forward. And in addition to these activities, an area that was required much important discussion, review, and action is our Title IX and DHR processes. And I'm just going to remind you the journey that we traveled thus far. A campus sexual harassment task force finalized their recommendations last fall. That was followed by an independent firm, TNG, that delved into our Title IX operations at my request, and they wrapped that work up in January. And then in July, the CSU released the full report of the system-wide Cozen-O'Connor Title IX DHR assessment. All three of these reports are readily accessible on the Title IX website. And with these in hand, an implementation team has been established composed of student, faculty, and staff representatives actively translating these recommendations into action. And we look forward again to sharing updates on our progress at a campus-wide forum. One resounding message we've heard has been about the importance of fostering an environment where Title IX is synonymous with inclusivity for all, students and employees alike. And to achieve this, the Title IX DHR office will have cross-divisional reporting lines to Student Affairs, Academic Affairs, and the Office of Human Resources. You know, early in my career, actually one of my first jobs was around the function of Title IX, except we didn't really call it that then. But I say that to tell you that I personally know how complex this work is and how much it's evolved over the last 2 decades. And that makes me understand how fortunate we are to have deeply caring and knowledgeable Title IX professionals right here on our campus. And I'm so grateful to them for their ongoing efforts as we look ahead. Something that the Cozen report highlights, which doesn't always fall under Title IX or non-discrimination policy, is what happens to individuals who experience concerning behavior or bias. And I'm referring to behavior or conduct, whether intentional or unintentional, that erodes the foundation of inclusivity and the diversity we strive to uphold. These instances are becoming all too familiar in society, and of course they happen right here on campus. I've had the opportunity to have heartfelt conversations with employees and students who've recounted painful experiences, and they've shared how isolating it can be, particularly when linked to identity. And I must give voice to the often unseen yet heavy burden that our faculty and staff of color experience when students turn to them for help and support through these incidents. We are taking a step forward, not a full solution, but a step forward by hiring a dedicated bias response coordinator to work across our campus to support individuals. And yet I know we must always go further, and we will always be working together as a campus community to improve and grow and strive for more. And I know that so many of our wonderful faculty have done such great work in this area, and that there are many ideas of how we can build on what so many of you have already done. One of these ideas that has come forward is how we partner with faculty, many of you here today, to focus on the classroom. Many of you have brought the ideas forward right from your classrooms and all the great work you do. And I know the topic is top of mind to our academic affairs leadership team, who also are ready to partner to provide robust support to our faculty and students of color within the classroom setting. And I know our Faculty Center has become offering a range of resources aimed at promoting classroom equity and fostering inclusive classroom environments. Looking ahead to October, we look forward to hosting a North County Higher Education Alliance Faculty Symposium that centers on the theme, Building Community Through Culturally Validating Pedagogy. This symposium, which also serves the faculty of Palomar AmeriCosta, will focus on innovative practices that affirm all students' cultural strengths and recognizes and supports their intersectional identities in and outside of the classroom. This is just too important. Our community is looking to us to be a model, and we have the capacity and responsibility to move forward as when we must stand united in this. Nurturing a culture of equity, respect, compassion, and care is a responsibility that rests on each and every one of us, including me. And this is not about checking a box or calling it a day. What it is about ensuring that however you identify, whomever you love, and whatever your abilities, you are included and welcome to thrive right here at CSUSM. This includes our classrooms and workspaces and shared governance spaces, offices, every place and space. And I know that there's work to be done and that the work will continue to evolve. And there's so many of you that have done heavy lifting in this area. You know, sometimes I've heard that we need to do a better job of reporting our work in progress, because to understand where we need to go next, we need to understand what so many of you have been a part of. And to that end, I want to share a few examples of successful, incremental, yet important progress made possible by so many of you. You know, as many of you know, in spring 2022, we took a significant and intentional step forward by partnering with the Coalition of Black and African American Education, a collection of community-based, faith-based, and civic organizations, including the North County chapter of the NAACP. I mentioned this last year, so you might be saying, why are we mentioning it again? And I mention it again because it's important for you to know that it's more than a symbolic agreement. Over the last year, our community partners have worked with us to identify action steps that will support Black student success and belonging. Two examples are our increased presence at Black community events across our region, with special thanks to Rosa Barr Williams in EMS. She's been working to strengthen relationship with churches, civic organizations, and families, and our deepened engagement with our K-12 community, exemplified by the upcoming Black Student Union Network Student Leadership Conference for high schoolers in October. I don't want to take away from the fact that there's still so much more to do, and we've got more to move forward. And we have a new CSU Black Student Success Report published in July by the Chancellor's Office, and that will also help us with a roadmap as we move forward. I need to thank you for generously and courageously giving voice to your experiences in service to creating a more thriving and welcoming campus for all. And I need to assure you that your voices are heard, and we and I will not stop for the needed change that always we are reaching for in our campus and our world. I have to highlight one generous voice, and that's of Robert Iao Hauser, the director of the Pride Center. Robert has been so willing and gracious to help me learn and grow as a leader in striving to support our LGBTQ+ community, and thank you, Robert. Earlier this month, Robert and his husband hosted me and Gail Colavant at the Human Rights Campaign San Diego dinner to assure that CSUSM is part of a growing regional and national movement to secure LGBTQ equality. You know, something we're doing right here on this campus to make sure that we're making progress is that we now have 15 gender-inclusive restrooms established in buildings across campus and at CSU in Temecula. And we're going to continue to add these every year. We will not stop until we work through every building, every place. I need to thank Associate Dean Char Booth and so many others who put work into motion with the Trans and Gender Nonconforming Task Force recommendations. And as we continue this journey, we will persist in our efforts to ensure every individual is afforded the dignity and respect they rightfully deserve. This commitment extends to every facet of our campus community, including our Hispanic servingness. As an HSI, we continue to define and redefine what it means to not only enroll, but truly serve every student. In support of this work, we recently received a CSU HSI Global Initiative grant to further our efforts toward receiving the Seal of Excellencia, a transformative framework that aligns data, practices, and leadership to accelerate student success. And I want to thank Dr. Viridiana Diaz, VP of Student Affairs, for championing this effort along with the cross-divisional advisory and action teams moving the application forward. And another exciting development is a new $3 million grant from the Developing Hispanic Serving Institutions program at the U.S. Department of Ed. This grant is designed to increase the enrollment, retention, and graduation of Latinx students and also all Pell eligible students. I want to acknowledge the work of both our American Indian and APITA student success work groups. Over the past year, these two groups have engaged our community to develop actionable recommendations to better support belonging and academic success. And as a direct result, I'm pleased to share that we hired new APITA and American Indian program coordinators. Allura Murray-Cruz and Ileana Ramirez, who will be overseeing student programming for the first time this fall. And I think they were a little surprised that they were going to be in this speech this fine morning. So I appreciate their willingness. You know, the next phase is opening 2 new student centers, an American Indian Student Center and an APITA Student Center right here in the USU. So I bet you're wondering, how in the world will they fit in this building? I wondered that too, but people smarter than I. So to make room for these is that our Dean of Students office will strategically be relocated to the first floor of the administrative building. Note, if you're not sure which building that is, it's the administrative building with other key student support services. And I'm looking forward to celebrating those ribbon cuttings. I've been told to ask for a little patience because I think there's a little bit of construction that's going to need to happen, but I'm looking forward to those ribbon cuttings very much. I also want to highlight 2 major grants. Did Surrey just talk to me? It's over there somewhere? No, just kidding. I also want to highlight 2 major grants that take this work even broader for our region. This summer, we learned that the California Health and Human Services Agency funded a $600,000 grant titled Unifying APITA Communities Together, Stop the Hate. And before you go ahead, let's go ahead. This grant is led by Dr. Teresa Suarez, Dr. Christina Hullov, Dr. Madeline Lee, and Cheryl Landon. This project is going to drive outreach and implement community-centered approaches to address APITA hate incidents. The ultimate aim is to foster a more robust safety ecosystem for our region. And our California Indian Culture and Sovereignty Center recently received funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. PI Dr. Jolie Proudfit will be working to understand the barriers and motivations, as well as the messages that will resonate for American Indian, Alaska Native students in higher education. And these, quite frankly, are just a few examples of how you on our campus are leading the way. Now, I must recognize the inseparable link between DEI efforts and both student success and sustainability. And I want to take a moment to highlight the ongoing partnership between the Climate Change Faculty Working Group and our Sustainability Office to elevate climate action. So last week, I had the honor of signing the President's Climate Leadership Commitment during a tree planting event right here on our campus. And this commitment, go ahead. And this commitment solidifies our dedication to achieving carbon neutrality and fostering the resilience of our community in the face of climate change. And my gratitude goes out. There are so many that worked on this and who have helped deepen my understanding of this critical work, particularly Sustainability Manager Juliana Goodlaw Morris, and Dina Gillo Whitaker from our American Indian Studies Department. She's a renowned expert on environmental justice and policy planning from an indigenous feminist lens. Our campus is a hub of innovation in an area with so many faculty leading the way in climate change and sustainability research and scholarship, including Kit Bacon-Grissett, who integrates climate education into her women and gender studies courses, William Byam in COBA, who brings his business knowledge on renewable energy and microgrids to the classroom, Dr. Emmanuel Iyegubnier from Public Health is exploring performance-based approaches and measurement strategies to support indoor air quality, and Judith Hersko, who works with scientists on visualizing climate change science through art and narrative. And this November, our campus will join 5 other CSUs in receiving an Ask You Excellence and Innovation Award for Sustainability. This recognition stems from our participation in a pilot faculty learning community on teaching climate change and resilience, where 7 of our faculty explored ways to include sustainability and climate change into their curricula. And it's an outstanding example of how our faculty are inspiring the future generations of climate champions who will advance environmental justice and create a greener, more sustainable world for all. This work aligns seamlessly in our new strategic plan, reflecting on commitment to student success and social mobility. For us, it's not just about guiding our students to graduation day, it's about fostering their potential as innovators and change agents, preparing them to tackle and contribute to the challenges of our evolving world. This doesn't start when they first enroll at CSUSM. It starts with proactive outreach to our K-12, community college, and military partners, ensuring a seamless educational pathway. And of course, I've got to share just a glimpse of the dedication with a few examples. Thanks to the efforts of many, including a new military advisory council, we will soon have a presence in the Education Center at Camp Pendleton, bringing courses to base. A new COBA summer initiative offered week-long workshops to nearly 100 high school students centered on financial literacy and entrepreneurship in collaboration with the San Diego chapter of Junior Achievement. A cross-divisional partnership between Student Affairs and Academic Affairs brought 1,000 ninth graders and 200 parents from high schools across Southern California to campus for the Puente Student Leadership Conference. And CSTEM offered students a 4-week summer experience to introduce students to quantum mechanics and the emerging field of quantum information science and technology. And what's so exciting is how our students are learning to leverage the unique property of quantum mechanics to create more powerful and efficient microchips. So what's great is when I get to go learn about these projects, I still could not explain to you everything happening in the lab around quantum, but I know it's important. It's incredible to me that on Monday, we are poised to welcome our new and returning students to campus. And as I mentioned earlier, while our enrollment hasn't quite rebounded to what it was pre-pandemic, we saw strong growth in our enrollment following last year's post-pandemic decline. And so many of you across the campus have put in so much to make it happen. From our orientation team, to our recruitment and outreach team, to our academic advisors, to our student success coaches, to financial aid, to all the teams that are happening right in the colleges, and so many more of you. You're moving this work forward, and we have teams working on the coordination development of 3 very important plans undergirding our institutional strategic plan. The first is a strategic enrollment plan to create a roadmap for our student recruitment, retention, and success. And there are people populating committees across this campus, faculty and staff and students, to bring that happen. The second is our academic plan, being brought to life by the Long Range Academic Master Plan Committee, also known as LAMP. It's co-chaired by Dr. Rika Yoshi and Vice Provost Mary Oling Cisse. To meet the evolving needs of our students in our region, LAMP is envisioning our future curriculum development and program expansion. And the third plan under development will lead to our second and largest university fundraising campaign. When complete, these 3 plans, along with a future facilities master plan, will be intricately woven together, each contributing and reinforcing the others to ensure a unified and strategic path forward, doubling down on who we are and how we move forward. Over the last 34 years, we have evolved from an innovative startup to a beacon of learning and progress with so much momentum lifting our wings. Momentum in the form of the most dollars raised in a single year in our history, over 12 million, right here at CSUSM. And this is despite charitable giving being down across the country and across the country by over 10%. But right here, we saw a 23% increase in total donors and record-breaking amounts at fundraising events. And this is the power of all of us. Now, we've got some other things to brag about, because I don't know if you noticed our athletic teams are #1 in our conference and took home the CCA Commissioner's Cup for the first time in June. Our Cougar athletes brought home 2 conference championships for men's and women's golf and 6 more top 3 finishes for men's and women's basketball, softball, men's cross country, and men's and women's track and field. Not to mention going to the World Series with softball. Even better, a record 103 student athletes earned academic achievement awards from the D2 Athletics Director Association, the highest in our conference. Our students are clearly powerhouses in competition and in the classroom, and that is the power of us. And we've also seen incredible momentum in the form of a record-breaking year for external grants. This fiscal year, we were awarded a total of $25 million, exceeding a previous high of $18 million about 3 years ago. Now, what stands out to me about this is how so many of them center around student success and offering hands-on opportunities for our students. Like Dr. Diego Sestada's NSF Career Award, which integrates his research on the salt marsh harvest mouse into a new applied animal ecology course with hands-on field research experience for the class. And I'm wondering when I get invited to that class. So, and then there's Dr. Denise Garcia and Dr. Regina Basu received an NIH grant that will lead to the design of mindfulness workshops for students applying to graduate school. An innovative yes? It's an innovative partnership between our new Center for Contemplative Practices and our Center for Training, Research, and Educational Excellence. And Dr. Rebecca Brooks in the School of Education received a grant from, I heard that, from the Department of Developmental Services to forge a new and inclusive program called Aspiring Scholars for students with intellectual disabilities seeking a college experience. You know, it's not only this, but our faculty and staff continue to receive awards and tremendous accolades. And I can only share a few, lest you'll be here with me all day because it's so fantastic. But I'm going to talk about Jason Magaboo, Professor of Ethnic Studies, who was awarded a $50,000 Poet Laureate Fellowship by the Academy of American Poets following his appointment as the City of San Diego's official Poet Laureate this January. You know, and then there's Dr. Gloria Pindy, Associate Professor of Communication. She won a national award from the Organization for the Study of Communication, Language, and Gender for her published article in the field of feminist and gender studies. Now, I threw this next one in because it's a bit fun. So, Dr. Aline Beckett, Associate Professor of Biology and Faculty, Faculty Director of Innovation, received an International Science News coverage, really got us out there, for her saga of the blue soup, after she quite literally made a science project out of a back-of-the-fridge beef soup that, yes, indeed had turned blue. I would have probably held my nose and thrown it out, but not Dr. Beckett. The thing is, and the thing that always makes me feel inadequate when I'm up here is I could go on, because across every department, every discipline, every person working here, there's so much exciting work happening. And all of this work is so inspiring, and it's what I love most. You know, and I really, again, all of the projects connect again to student success and social mobility. And it's so exciting because it's about driving forward the future direction of our university, honing our identity and doubling down on the essence of who we are and who we aspire to become. Against the backdrop of shifting demographics and post-pandemic workforce, economic dynamics, we will lead and be the beacon of higher education for others to turn to. With an emphasis on interdisciplinary collaboration and investment in foundational student learning experiences and new facilities, from the affordable student housing, which can't get here soon enough, to the integrated science and engineering building, to also working with our students on a new rec and wellness facility. I'm going to start some gossip across campus today with that one. We can and we will meet our region's and our world's expectations for graduates equipped with the skills to work and lead. You know, if you're wondering what my vision is, well, I'm going to be very clear about it. It's not about me setting the tone. It's about all of us. And our roadmap is the strategic plan, because together we are educating and empowering the leaders and change makers of tomorrow, instilling in them the tools they need to surmount the challenges ahead. We are embracing the responsibility to create avenues of social mobility for the diverse and talented students and families right here in our region, and we are setting a model for this nation to follow. And we are forging cutting-edge, innovative experiences and facilities that amplify our collective potential, providing a canvas for academic excellence, scholarship, and innovation to flourish. That is who we are, and as we stand on the cusp of a new academic year, this is the path, the good times, the hard times, all of it, that we are going to walk together, because this is the power of us. This is the power of CSUSM. And I am so honored, and thank you for the privilege of walking this path with each of you. Thank you. Let us have a great year. All right.